I'm here with Jose Lopez, who's the volunteer coordinator for the Gubbio Project, which partners with the St. Boniface Church in San Francisco to provide sacred sleep to people who don't really have a place to sleep. And we are in the Tenderloin, just 2 blocks from City Hall in San Francisco, about 5 blocks from Twitter.
That's right.
For people who aren't familiar with the area, can you describe it?
Yeah, I think my favorite description of it, unfortunately, not a good thing, is a refugee camp. It's really all these people are getting pushed into this small, piece of the city, and I think that's why it's so visible, right? That's why so many people can see it. It's because it's so many people in such a little space.
And sacred sleep, I love that term. So you're offering a space for people to sleep from 6 a.m. until 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And it's almost 3 o'clock right now.
Yeah.
And people were here sleeping. Here's the pews. And then at 3 o'clock, we don't know where they go.
Yeah,
Right?
usually, probably, it's getting about the time to be dinner.
Yeah.
So folks will go wait in line at Glide, or they'll go wait in line for their shelter to try to get into a shelter. So it's still a little early for that, but at least that's the next step.
And at any given time, there are about 110 people sleeping in these pews, and throughout the day, you serve between 250 and 300 people.
That's right. Yeah, with sleep, and then with people needing the bathroom, or needing some supplies. We do see a lot of people. Our numbers keep growing, unfortunately.
And so you're a volunteer coordinator, and how long have you been in this role?
Volunteer coordinator since July of this year, and then have been with the project a little over a year.
And have you seen major changes in the last year and a half, just in terms of the people coming in, the demand?
Yeah, I guess it has been busier. I think our average has grown. Last year we didn't really see this many people, and then now I guess with the rain especially, it's a lot harder out on the streets. So I guess not only that, but the big difference is the tension with this crisis, right? It's with so much harassment and so much abuse to this population that it's just more difficult and harder to see every day. Is to see our guests that are getting harassed and attacked by the papers, and just by all the negative attention that has been on this crisis.
Like media attention.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. And there's also this sort of war on the poor.
Right.
A lot of these new laws,
Yeah.
people are getting arrested, they're getting hosed, especially with a lot of the tech companies in the mid-market area. There's a higher police presence now, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then there was a great report recently done by the Coalition on Homelessness called "Punishing the Poorest," and there you see that the criminalization on homeless and the criminalization on poor isn't solving anything. All this police, focus and all these citations doesn't do anything to help the situation.
And the latest official number is 6,600 homeless people in San Francisco, 3,500 here in the Tenderloin, which is where we are right now, 1,200 shelter beds in the city of San Francisco.
That's right, 1,200. And actually, just today, a shelter in the Bayview just got withdrawn. They were planning on opening a shelter with 100 beds, and they just canceled that.
Why?
Because of money and neighbors not really wanting more homeless presence in their area. So,
what strikes me is that you can understand why people they're upset about this problem. They're fed up with this problem. But we don't often talk about why this is happening in the first place.
right.
And I think this statistic is so important. 95% of people who are addicts have suffered from trauma, and about 100% of the people living on the streets have suffered from trauma.
Yeah.
So the people that you're seeing in the BART station or in front of your home,
Yeah.
or sleeping in front of the storefront in your neighborhood,
Yeah.
most likely that person has been traumatized.
Yeah. And there's a lot, and I think that's where we hope people look past this. People kind of label them as homeless people and get caught on that homeless part, but especially on a day like today, on Veterans Day, there's so many people that that have gone through so much and have experienced so much, like veterans, and end up on the street. Yeah.
In fact, I just met a veteran back here, and I'm told that he has been coming to the Gubbio Project to sleep in these pews for the last 5 years.
That's right. Yeah, we see a couple on a regular basis, actually.
So some people have been coming here for 5 years.
Some even longer. I think our longest staff that we've had here has been here for 7 years, and I think he has known some people that have been here that long, and maybe even longer. Some have been here longer than him, actually. Yeah.
So what happens is people arrive at as early as 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, actually, a lot of folks sleep on this block right here, right outside. They'll go out and then they'll come back when they're allowed to sit outside, and they'll spend the night there. And when we get here early in the morning and unlock, they come right back in.
Can I ask how old you are?
I'm 23.
23. You're young. How do you make sense of this in a city like San Francisco with so much money now?
Yeah.
And the homeless issue is just getting worse.
Yeah.
How are you making sense of that? I mean, the fact that you're here every day and
Yeah.
you interact with homeless people on a daily basis.
Yeah, I guess it's hard. I mean, it's hard to believe, some of the things that, it's hard to see some of the things that I see. It's hard to hear what I hear, from the media, or what I hear from, politicians, or from, just from so many different people. And it's a hard thing. But with all the bad out there, there's also a lot of good out there, and people that are really trying to make a difference and that are trying to change this and really come up with positive solutions and sustainable solutions. So there's good and bad.
And so at the Gubbio Project at the St. Boniface Church, where we are right now, and as you can see, people are cleaning up the pews. So people came in this morning at 6 a.m. and they left at 3. It's 3 o'clock right now. And so now they're cleaning up the pews.
Yeah.
And this is really a safe, peaceful, calm place
Yeah.
for people to rest.
Yeah, people get good deep sleep here, and it's hard to describe, but just by hearing the way people snore, and everyone has seen, a loved one in deep sleep, or has seen, a child sleeping and just comfortably without any worries. You see that here, and you hear it, and people thank us for it, and people look forward to it, because obviously people don't get that type of sleep on the street, and even shelters, can be just as dangerous. And so coming here and being able to get that nice sacred sleep, that's a big thing. Yeah.
And I understand that when the Gubbio Project began about 6 years ago, it was about 5% women, but now it's about 25% women.
Yeah, it's definitely growing. We've seen more even youth homeless, LGBTQ homeless. All those numbers are going up.
And about 20% of the people in the pews identify as LGBT.
Yeah, that's right.
And because these communities, women and LGBT, you are almost guaranteed to be assaulted on the streets.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with our bathrooms, actually, is that our bathrooms are trans friendly. So, we let folks that identify as whatever they identify use that bathroom, which is really rare in the city of San Francisco. So yeah.
There's going to be a benefit for the Gubbio Project on December 3rd,
That's right.
and I'll put information about it under this video. And basically, the majority of the budget goes to the staff, and it goes to supplies.
Yep, that's really all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so all the donations and everything that's made from that fundraiser will directly come to the Gubbio Project. And then the comedian Kemal Bell will be there, and he's gonna do a blanket. The event is called Blanket Statements. And he'll be talking about the project here.
And as far as I know, this is the only church in the country that provides sacred sleep during the day.
During the day, that's right. Yeah, the only church that we know of, that we've researched, we've looked, and the only one. Yeah,
It's kind of amazing because there are a lot of churches in this country.
A lot of churches,
and you have to wonder why. Here at the St. Boniface Church, the way they do it is, the first maybe 10 pews are for people who want to worship, and then the pews in the back are for people who want to sleep.
Yeah, and that's if you go into any other church, maybe not all, but the majority during the day are
empty.
Almost empty,
right.
Yeah, nearly empty. Some churches don't even offer daily masses anymore, and just do the weekend services. So there's a lot of space out there.
And Because we're talking about homelessness on a regular basis and just solutions to homelessness, what maybe 2 changes would you like to see since you interact with the homeless community on a regular basis?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a hard one. I think I think it's the reality that the housing first model is what works. You know, housing first is the way to go, right? That's how it was done in Salt Lake City, and that's the only. I mean, that's where they've seen massive improvement. Every other city around here is declaring state of emergencies. So
right.
housing first. It's not get services, get a job, get sober, and then you get housing. It's housing solves homelessness, and then from there we can go on to address whatever else is going on. And I think just seeing the human dignity in people, it's, if you see someone that looks like they're struggling or, that is asking for help, don't ignore the person, right? I mean, just at least say that you can't help or that you don't know how to help or, just seeing the human dignity and all. Like the other day, when it was raining, I was walking here and there was a guy laying out in the rain and I wondered how many people had passed by him until I finally got there and I said, hey, come to this church. This church, you can come in here and you can be warm and you can get some rest. Let's get you out of the rain. And it's just seeing the human value in every single person.
Well, again, there's going to be a fundraiser on December 3rd for the Gubbio Project, and Jose Lopez is volunteer coordinator with the Gubbio Project. They are partners with the St. Boniface Church here in San Francisco, where 100 people sleep on the pews. They call it sacred sleep, from 6 a.m. until 3 p.m., and they serve between 250 and 300 people every day. Jose, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your work.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.